finish off with the Golden State Warriors, who also finished last season at 46 wins. They lost to the Kings in that playing game. They lost Klay Thompson, of course. That's the big thing. He goes to Dallas. They also lose Dario Saric. He goes to Denver, and they signed Buddy Hield, DeAnthony Melton, and Kyle Anderson, three decent role players in their own right. Let me see if I can find their roster. There is their roster. Something that automatically stands out to me about this team, a couple things. One, they're a sneaky deep team. They have a lot of, decent guys, kind of like the Clippers, where they got a lot of decent players that could get thrown into different roles. But that leads me to who is starting for the Golden State Warriors this season?
Probably Steph Curry.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Jackson, what a hot take.
Is that the only hot take you're going to say? I mean, it kind of leads like their second best play. Like, who's their second best player? Probably Jonathan Kuminga after his season last year, and he's not even a guarantee to start on this team because Steve Kerr loves to play his veterans, and Kuminga is kind of in and out of the lineup. So I'm kind of knocking off a whole bunch of things here. The thing I hope to see this season is I want to know if Jonathan Kuminga can force himself into a full-time starting role for this team because right now, I mean, Jonathan Kuminga is their second best player. He's not a guaranteed starter. I don't know where the Warriors will go with that. I hope they start him, but then it's like then you're having Draymond Green come off the bench. Probably not going to happen. Andrew Wiggins, he didn't have a great year last year, but he's a guy that they're looking to trade, so he's probably going to start to get minutes. And you don't want Draymond starting at the 5. You're probably going to have Trace Jackson-Davis starting. Like, it's just a weird team with a lot of different pieces. Like, I could see them going either way this season. Their over-under is at 43.5 victories. Probably the under. But, I mean, they still have a lot of decent players. Nick's going the over.
They'll be 41-41.
Wow, right at 41-41. Okay.
It's Steph and then a bunch of people who need to prove themselves.
I think that Steph's still going to be able to win them games.
Wait, did you guys lose Nick too?
Yeah.
Okay, I was not sure if it was just me.
He's gonna sneeze.
I wasn't sure if it was just me or not. Oh, because I'm on that college Wi-Fi. But
no, but I mean, just thinking about. Oh, he's back.
Oh, there he is. Nick's back. Oh no, now Nick's gone again. Jackson, go ahead.
So just thinking about the Warriors, like it's literally just Steph and a bunch of people who have to prove themselves, which is kind of terrifying because I mean, like. Besides Draymond's already proven, but Draymond's getting old. Like, I think they'll start Steph, Hield, Kuminga, Draymond, and Trace. But I could see him going Looney at the 5 as well. It's just
no Pods.
I think Pods will be a 6-man. I think they'd rather just start Buddy Hield.
For more, then I worry about the perimeter defense.
Then that defense would be terrible.
Yeah, true. I mean, that's the thing. It's just a weird team. I don't know. I'm just not that confident in the Warriors this year, I guess.
Yeah, I also am. I'm going to go under with them. I see where Nick's going the over though, and I know his internet. He texted saying his internet keeps going in and out, so he's going to be out for the rest. But,
okay.
I get where he's saying because Steph Curry is still Steph Curry, and Steve Kerr is a great head coach. Like they can do it. Like it is fully in the realm of possibility that they still make a play-in at like 45 or 46 wins. Like that is still a very big possibility. Personally, I'm with you though. Like I think Kuminga, Pods, and Trace Jackson-Davis are great young talents, and that could be the future for the Golden State Warriors after Steph Curry. But I don't think Steve Kerr and the rest of the Warriors themselves are ready for that yet. So they're still going to roll with an Andrew Wiggins possibly, or a Buddy Hield and a Draymond. And it's just like, unfortunately, even though those guys are still be solid, even if it doesn't give you your best chance to win, I think this should be a learning year for him because you really need to start building for another. If you want Steph to have another couple of years to be competitive, you really need to start developing those guys a lot quicker, I would say, because the Andrew Wiggins, the Draymond Green, they're going to be gone. Kayvon Looney, like those guys are out the door next year. They're trying to get rid of them this past year, possibly. Like, if they really want to keep their window open for Steph Curry for the next couple of years, I really think they should just keep with the young guys, even if it's not going well.
I would probably agree with that because when you're also looking at the Western Conference as well, something we didn't talk about with the Clippers, because I would probably say the Clippers and the Warriors are the two worst teams of this division. They're going to be on that bubble of maybe making the play-in, maybe missing. You got two teams that I know, it's not even just a Jackson thing. I think that the Grizzlies, who didn't make it at all, are going to be back in the run of things. And I also think that the Houston Rockets are going to be a lot better. So those are two teams that were completely out of the play-in. So with all those other teams in the Western Conference, is this a year where like Golden State maybe takes a step back here? And I don't want to see it because, Steph Curry, I don't want to see a year of Steph Curry, basically a wasted year of Steph Curry not really winning anything. But I feel like it'd be best for the team if, like you said, Joey, they would be able to develop their players more.
It would even be beneficial to Steph Curry because even if he at his last 2 years of the NBA in a couple years, he is only shooting and he's still not super and he's not driving, but he can still pass, dribble, and shoot. If you got all these young guys still around you and they've developed into potential all-stars, which they definitely have the potential to be, I think that's your best chance for Steph to win another ring. I think, especially in a couple of years when LeBron's out of there, when Kawhi's possibly out, like a couple more guys out of that division, maybe.
Yeah,
who knows?
We're talking about like Steph Curry and all this. We're kind of like just going like ignoring the fact that he is kind of an injury-prone player. And it's the same thing with Kawhi. If Steph goes down, this team plummets. This team is not winning many games without him. So it's like, we've seen him have some like smaller injuries, but if he has like even like an injury that keeps him out for a month or two, this team is going to flounder. This team is not going to be as good, especially because he's another year older and he can't do all the carrying by himself.
Yeah, this past year, he at age 35, he played 74 games, which was the most games he's played since 2017 season. So it's been a while since he's played this many games this past year. Mm-hmm. And then after he did that, he played 51 games. 2 years later, he only played 5. Like, who knows how this past year, when he tried to make them into the playoffs for one last year with that big 3, who knows how it's going to affect him this year?
Yeah, so that season where he played in 5 games, the 2019-20 season, the team was kind of in a similar state it is now, just minus the young players. So this was coming off of their 5th straight finals appearance. Kevin Durant just tore his Achilles and bolted to the Brooklyn Nets. Klay Thompson tore his ACL at the time from the finals. DeMarcus Cousins had an injury. He left. This was a team that was basically Steph, Draymond, that's it, and they were not good the first few games of the season, the first 4 games of the season, because it was just Steph Curry. All the defensive, pressure was on him. And on the 4th game of the season, he broke his hand. Aaron Baines, shout out to Aaron Baines, broke his hand, and Steph Curry missed basically the rest of the season besides 1 game before COVID hit. And it was kind of a blessing in disguise for them because they were able to develop, at least play some of the younger players. Eric Paschall at the time, Jordan Poole, rookie season, was able to play more, and some veteran guys like at the time Alec Burks, Glenn Robinson III was good for them. They played minutes and they were able to get dealt at the deadline for future assets. And because they were the worst team in the league that year, they got the 2nd overall pick. Kind of flubbed. They got James Wiseman, didn't really work out. But, they got top draft picks So like, not saying that I want Steph Curry to get injured, but I mean, if the Warriors had a Grizzlies type season where, they're worse and they, not even just because of injuries, if they're just worse and they could get a higher draft pick in the lottery next season to get another young player, that is, that's what you would probably want to see. I don't think that they would be bad enough to be in that Cooper Flag type of thing, but 9 or 10 is not a bad place to be, I don't think, if you're the Warriors. And they may just get that regardless. You're looking at what I just said. I mean, if all those teams, that made the postseason last year make it again, and the Grizzlies and Rockets jump over the Warriors, which is possible, this is the 12th best team in the conference, which anything could happen in the lottery.
I'm glad you mentioned the Grizzlies because it brings me to my next hot take for for the Warriors. I think after this season, the Warriors will have a top 10 draft pick going into next year.
That's not a bad take. I think it's not even that.
I think they're going to pull exactly what the Grizzlies did, where they got like a number 9. They get a Zach Edey, who obviously we don't know, and we could talk about the Grizzlies, but it fits perfectly. If the Warriors go into next year, even if it's not Cooper Flag, because obviously that's the big name. Shout out Cooper Flag for signing with New Balance today. But even just someone in the top 10, if you get someone in the top 10, that's another good young talent that even if he's not a starter for you right away, he's a bench player. That's an effective role player that you desperately need on this team.
Golden State as well, because I was actually curious to make sure we weren't saying all that for nothing. Golden State does have control over their next 3, 4, 5 first-round picks. They have control over their next 5 first-round picks. So they have room to, if they end up, struggling, they could go in that direction and get their own first-round pick. It's just, the Warriors, it's just such a difficult situation to have Steph Curry and young players that need time to develop because obviously, like, do they buy in, try to trade those young players for a piece? They weren't really – what were they in? They were in the Paul George talks, Lauri Markkanen, but they weren't willing to do more than, like, Moses Moody, bunch of firsts, bunch of seconds, pick swaps, and dead salary. Like, so we know this team, they want to move forward with Steph, but also develop their young players while also signing veterans. And also having some bad contracts. They're trying to do a bunch of different things. They need to figure out what they want to do. I guess that's the big thing. They got to figure out what the heck they want to do.
They got to pick a direction and just go with it. Honestly, the organization as themselves is a very well-run organization. So if anyone can do it, it's definitely them. But they definitely have to make a decision soon because as soon as you do that, they're going to do it really well. But they're spreading themselves thin.
To me, their ceiling is playing, and Steph Curry makes magical plays in the fourth quarter of a playing game to get a bottom seed, and they lose in 4 or 5 games in the first round. That's what I see with the Warriors.
They definitely have a lower ceiling to me than the Lakers because, I mean, LeBron at least has AD. I mean, there's 2 stars on the Lakers, and they're both 2 less stars, or they're both stars that are less injury prone, in my opinion, than Steph Curry. I mean, everyone talks about how injury prone Anthony Davis is. Anthony Davis has shown the last 2 seasons that he's really not this injury prone player, that people are overhyping it and overstating what they're talking about with that. But but I have the same argument with them. I think their championship window is even smaller, at least as of right now, because they don't have that 30 and under player. Like, Davis is only 30. They don't have that guy that can help bring Steph Curry to another championship at this moment in time. They could get it, but I don't think that they should risk. I don't think they should risk their future because I think, honestly, at this point, if they wanted to, I think LeBron could play longer than Steph Curry also because of Steph's injury history, like I've mentioned a couple times. So I think the window is just larger for the Lakers. And I think this is going to be the start of the decline for Steph Curry's career, not necessarily playing-wise, but, accolades-wise and, playoffs-wise, if that makes sense.
I've compared this to, Kobe's final heydays with the Lakers, and I know Kobe got injured, tore his Achilles, and then, the team just struggled from there. But, a legendary player, still very, very good player. I mean, Steph Curry, one of the best players in the league, still top 10 in our list. But the rest of the guys around him, you just don't know. It's a mix of one, older legend player that still wants to win, plus young guys. It's not going to work. It's just not going to work. It's hard to see that working, especially when, like I mentioned at the top with the Warriors, we don't know who is the second consistent player for the Warriors. Like,
There
it's
isn't.
Jonathan Kuminga, but he's not a full-time starter right now.
There
So
just isn't a second. There's no Robin to Batman right now. Like, nobody who's even like considered I think in terms of play right now, I think their second best player is on the level of the Clippers' third best player, on below the level of the Lakers' third best player, which is kind of crazy to think about. I think Kuminga you can make an argument he's up there with, like, I don't even know who the third best player for the Clippers is. I think it's Kevin Porter Jr. just because I think Kevin Porter Jr. is he's gonna surprise people with his play. I think, I don't know. I don't like to say that because, again, he's a bad person, but like, I've seen the dude play, and the dude gets buckets.
Oh, we saw it too, dude. Loved watching him play. It's just the off the court stuff. But you're right, Jackson. I mean, when you look, like, if we had extended our top 50 list and made a full top 100 players list, is it even like Kuminga? Would he be in the 80s, 90s probably? That's even making the list. I mean, he's probably 80s, 90s, and that's probably the best.
Yeah, he's like
barely making 80s, 90s, and that's their second best player right now. And it's just a difficult spot for the Golden State Warriors. But you guys got anything else with the Warriors before we wrap it up?
I don't think so. I think they are going to finish as the worst team in that division. I think that it'll be followed by the Clippers, Kings, Lakers, and then the Suns will come out on top. That's my prediction for the division as a whole.
Okay. Yeah, this still should be the most competitive division because, like, even then, like, the Warriors, a team with Steph Curry on it being the worst, like, that's still pretty good. I mean, because he's going to give you a chance in any game. Still, the greatest shooter in the world, clutchest player in the league last season.